If you feel stuck in your country like I was a year ago, burnt out, miserable, and dreaming of a fresh start in Australia, this is the no fluff guide to make that move happen in just 30 days. I'll walk you through the exact steps, costs, mindset shifts, and real advice that no one else will tell you. I've done it myself and I could do it again, and I'm gonna show you what actually works and the really important mistakes to avoid. So let's get to it. Hey mate, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Sam, a British expat documenting my journey of escaping the UK for a better life in Australia. Now, there's just one really important thing that I need to say before we get started. And the one thing that you might not be able to achieve within 30 days is getting your visa granted. That's purely because that is completely out of your control. You could apply for your visa and it might not get granted until months later, in some cases even years. But anyway, let's not worry about that right now. The first step is get crystal clear on why you're moving. I know it sounds a little bit like those business gurus who are like, what's your why? What's your reason? What's your purpose? But honestly, it is good advice. If you're just trying to run away from your problems that you currently have at home, then they are still going to be there waiting for you when you come back. Is it for work reasons? Are there emotional drivers here? Are you super burnt out in your current culture? Is it because of your mental health? I can only speak from personal experience on this one, but my wife and I, we both had seasonal affective disorder living in London in the UK, and we were both a little bit anxious and depressed living there. I can safely say that. But moving to Australia definitely helped us to get rid of that. But while I'm saying this, it's not a quick fix to all your problems. That will still be here if you move to Australia. So my advice would be tie up any loose ends you can now. And what I would start doing is buy yourself a tiny little notebook. You can often get them from supermarkets, and just start jotting down the reasons why you want to move to Australia. And maybe, if you want to be really analytical, write down some of the reasons you don't want to move to Australia. Do this for about a week or two, and then one Sunday morning, just open it, have a look at all the reasons you said you do want to and all the reasons you said you don't want to. And then you can properly decide whether moving to Australia is right for you. That being said, if you know it's right for you, but there are anxieties holding you back that aren't that deep, maybe you've got some stuff to sell on eBay. If it's little things like that, then there's never going to be a perfect time. If it's that you're a bit worried to hand your notice in at work, but you want to hand your notice in, then just do it. You need to pick a day and make it happen. Number 2 is picking the right visa without losing your mind. Really important that I say this right now. I'm not an immigration officer. You need to go on the website immi.homeaffairs.gov.au. They have all of the answers when it comes to visas, and they will be the most help to you. So other than figuring out your why you want to move to Australia, this is the most important chapter in the entire video. Sort your visa out as soon as possible, because until you've got it in writing from Australia Government Department of Home Affairs that you can enter the country, you can't book your flights, you can't start organising accommodation and travel and jobs and things you're going to do. So get this sorted as soon as possible. And the reason why I'm trying to tell you to go on the website is because you might think you're suited for one visa, but then because of the country you come from and the skills you have and maybe the money you have, you might be able to get a different visa that's better for you. So have a look through the library of visas on the website. Now, pro tip here, if you're looking at quite a big visa, like the partner visa, where the cost of it is very high, there's a lot of paperwork too, you might want to look at hiring a migration agent. If you find one, a reputable one, and you have a meeting with them, all looks good, it might be worth doing it purely because there is a huge amount of paperwork, and visas like the partner visa, they are not cheap at all whatsoever. And by having a reputable migration agent, you are increasing your odds of getting the visa granted and approved. Remember, a lot of these visas you do have to pay something for. If it's just the e-visitor, vacation visa, usually they're free. But if it's something like a working holiday visa, you'll be paying 650 Australian dollars. You might also be thinking, Sam, how long is this going to take me? Again, I don't know. As soon as you've watched until the end of the video, go onto that website here and put in your application for the visa that you want after you've, shopped around and made sure you're getting the right one. Also, really helpful, they have an estimate sort of visa grant time calculator on their website. So you can put in the type of visa you're applying for. I think you put in your country and whatnot, and it will give you a time frame, which can be really, really helpful, just so you can start mentally preparing yourself. Number 3 is start budgeting now. It is a beautiful country here, but it's not the cheapest country you'll find. Unless you're flying from a place like New Zealand or Papua New Guinea, you're going to be flying from the other side of the world. So with flights, depending on whether you're looking at a one-way ticket or a round-trip ticket, flights could set you back between £500 to £1,500. I have spent £1,500 on an economy flight from Heathrow to Brisbane before, and that sucked. Your visa cost, like I was saying, there are so many visas. You could be looking at £300 all the way to £4,000, £5,000. Always have an emergency fund. If you've got an emergency fund, you're already being so much smarter than everyone else who moves to Australia and only has like 100 quid in their bank account. Make sure you've got about 6 months worth of rent bills and expenses in your bank account before you move. That's what I would personally say. Apply those figures off of what you're currently paying for your expenses back at home, because even if it's less than what you will pay in Australia, it still gives you a buffer. Now, I couldn't possibly go into the monthly cost of every single city in Australia, but unless you're chasing the outback, I could probably imagine you're moving to either Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide, or Sydney. So within these cities, the rent you could expect to be paying is anywhere from £600 to £1,300 or more. I know some of you in the comments will probably be like, no, rent is way more than that. Rent is way cheaper than that where I am in Australia, but it's all relative. I personally prefer Brisbane because I find it to be a little bit cheaper than places like Sydney and Melbourne, and also I like the heat. Use the website realestate.com.au. In my experience, this has been the best property hunting website out there. Start shopping around at the different rent prices you can expect to be paying. You can do that from where you're sitting right now in your home country. Now, rent aside, I'm pretty solid with my budget. I only spend about £400 to £500 a month in living expenses. Now, all of this might sound like quite a lot, but what's important to remember here is that you'll make more in Australia too. Compared to the UK, it definitely pays better. We've got these statistics from uhomes.com, and according to them, the monthly pay for an ordinary Aussie could earn them 7,500 Aussie dollars, while an ordinary British person could only earn 5,271 Australian dollars. So in conclusion, Aussies have a higher salary on average than people back in the UK. Pro tip here, open up an internationally fee-free spending bank account in your home country before you come to Australia. The reason being, there might be some issues with you opening up an Aussie bank account, for example. So it's really important that you have some way to spend money whilst not being taken advantage of by banks and them charging you all these international fees on top of your spending. So if you're in the UK, I would personally recommend Chase, because they're internationally fee-free and you also get 1% cashback on quite a few of your purchases in my experience. Number 4 is book your flight as soon as your visa's been granted. I would highly recommend saving this video if you can, so you can come back to chapters like these. So congratulations if your visa has been granted. I'm very happy for you. Depending on how long you've been waiting for your visa to get granted, if you want to stay within this 30-day plan, then book the flight 30 days from now, and then start telling your family and friends about it so you can start getting those catch-ups and goodbyes in. Why are we booking it so soon? Well, not only are you trying to achieve this in 30 days, right? It's like when you're at the top of a roller coaster and you decide you don't want to be on it anymore, but then it goes and you absolutely love it. It's the same thing. It just creates excellent momentum. So pro tip for booking your flights, the best websites I've found for finding the best deal is either Google Flights or Skyscanner. Make sure you're on incognito mode, select flexible dates and flexible cities as well. Yes, you might have to spend a little bit extra going to a neighboring city airport that it gives you, but you also could be saving hundreds of pounds in your flights. So have a look at that and see what the best deal you could get. By the way, I was looking at my analytics today and I noticed that over 98% of you who regularly watch my videos aren't subscribed yet. So if you're enjoying this video, consider hitting the subscribe button. Really helps to support the channel. Thank you. All you need to do now is book some short-term accommodation. If you've got friends and family in Australia with a spare room, definitely go for that option as it's the most affordable because it will probably be free. But if not, you can look at hostels if that's not really your vibe. So Airbnb can be really great for that. Even booking.com, you could find some good deals on. You're probably thinking, Sam, why do I need to book short-term accommodation? Surely I'll land there, just start renting an apartment. I wish it was that easy. Australia, just like the UK, is in a housing crisis right now. So the competition for renting apartments is really, really difficult. It took my wife and I to find the apartment we're living in now a whole month of looking. Now, admittedly, because we both have jobs, we weren't looking every second of every single day, only when we had some free time to. But still, that's probably what you'll be doing as well in amongst, finding a job, traveling around Australia, experiencing life. Also, another good reason why you should only book short-term accommodation right now is because you want to test out the area first. You want to see if that city or town is to your liking, if it's your vibe, or maybe you're like, okay, I've tried this city now, maybe I'll go to this one. And if your visa and job gives you the freedom to do this, you can travel to a different city and see if that's better for you. So if this is your first time coming to Australia, I wouldn't recommend taking out a long lease on an apartment or a house right away. It just might not be the best decision for you, and you might kick yourself moving to Sydney when you hear that your mate's just moved to Brisbane and absolutely loves it because, Brisbane's awesome. But if you're certain about long-term accommodation and you really want to go with your gut, then you could start looking at the website realestate.com.au. If you're going there soon, maybe you could start booking in some viewings. And once you arrive in Australia, you probably will be jet lagged and very tired. But if you've got the energy, you can start viewing properties that week. If you're really serious about long-term accommodation, that is. Now, I wish I could walk you through every tiny detail of the move. So I've put together a complete moving to Australia guide packed with everything that I learnt the hard way and all the things I wish I knew before I made the move. So if you're serious about making the move and creating a better life for yourself, click the link in the description below, grab the guide. It could save you thousands of hours and possibly thousands of dollars. Number 6 is get a job or income stream lined up. Now, again, this is completely dependent on what type of visa you're applying for. Now, option 1 is you could look on job sites, websites like Indeed, Career One, Workforce Australia for casual and skilled work. If you've got a degree back at home, if you've got qualifications and things like that, maybe the employer will favor you and you could get a job that you really enjoy doing here. Option 2 is hospitality or retail work. Often this is one of the easiest types of jobs to get because there's such a fast turnaround with employing new staff. So this is great to make some quick money, but it's hard work. You'll be working for quite a few hours a day. You'll be up on your feet a lot of the time. It's not necessarily very rewarding if you're maybe working in a pub and some of the people aren't as nice to you. So that's why there's option 3, which is freelancing, which is what I personally do. I'm a freelance video editor for other YouTubers. Now, what I would say with the freelancing business is make sure that your visa allows you to set up your own business in Australia. Again, another good reason to check the IMI website to make sure that you're not breaking any rules. So if you like the sound of the freedom to pick your hours and pick your income, honestly, because the income barrier sort of increases when you're a freelancer, then definitely start thinking about setting this up now in your home country. I set up my freelance video editing business within a month, so it's completely achievable to do in this 30-day plan. And if you go down the hospitality or corporate route, then in your interviews, be really prepared about how you'll handle any questions about the current visa you're on, the current living situation and how long you're here for. Prepare some really good answers to those questions because if they hear your accent, like they would with me hearing a British accent, you'll definitely get some questions about how long you're here for and what your reasons for being here are. Number 7 is set up your digital infrastructure before you land. A few things: set up a bank account here because if you're getting paid by an Aussie employer here, you'll need an Australian bank account. Few good banks to look at are NAB, NAB, Commonwealth and ING. Like we were talking about before, if you've got an internationally fee-free spending bank account back in your home country, then you won't have any problem spending money here, but getting paid by an Australian employer will mean that you need an Australian bank account. Also set up a wise transfer account. This, in my opinion, is is the best app and website to transfer money from your home country to Australia. They make it really easy. I just use the phone app and it's absolutely flawless in my opinion. The other thing you want to set up is a SIM card. Take out some sort of phone plan. You can even set up a SIM to be picked up when you arrive at the airport. Most of these plans will have pretty much unlimited text and calls in them within Australia, of course. But personally, I just use WhatsApp and FaceTime to internet video call friends and family, which is free. Now, the two biggest mobile phone companies here are Optus and Telstra, and most people will just tell you to take out a plan with them. Personally though, I think this is really basic knowledge, and I think it's really important to still shop around with your mobile phone plan. That's how I keep my monthly expenses so low. One company I would really recommend, and I have an at-home broadband plan with these people, is Aussie Broadband. They have a range of mobile phone plans, and they are, in my experience, slightly cheaper than Optus and Telstra plans. Pro tip here, put all of your really important documents onto a digital drive like Google Drive or Dropbox. It means you have access to them anywhere in the world from any device, phone, laptop, computer, iPad, and it means that if there's any hiccups on your traveling to Australia, you've got those documents ready to go that you could potentially show to an immigration officer. The final thing you should set up is Medicare. If your visa makes you eligible for Medicare, Medicare is the National Health Service in Australia, and if you can find a GP that does bulk billing, it means that you won't pay a single cent on any doctor's appointments. Number 8 is sort out health and travel insurance. For the visas I've applied for, it wasn't a legal requirement for me to have health and travel insurance, but the Australian Government Department of Home Affairs does highly encourage you, whether it's a legal requirement of your visa or not, for you to take out a health and travel insurance plan. There's some really good websites like Safety Wing, Medibank, Bupa, Covermore. I don't have a huge amount of experience with these, so go have a look, see what's best for you. And honestly, I kind of wish I took out health and travel insurance, because while I haven't had any unlucky experiences in Australia yet, I have traveled to other countries where maybe I had to change my flights and maybe I needed to go to the doctors, and having that health and travel insurance will actually save you a lot of money in the long run. It's one of those adult grown-up things that it's just good to do. Number 9 is pack smart. Now we're getting to the slightly more fun things, because we've got the flights, the visa, the money, we're actually going there, and now we can start packing. Some people hate packing, other people love it. I would try and do it all in one day. If you're just going on a working holiday visa and you know you're only going to be there for a year or two, then you don't need to be using companies like Send My Bag and paying hundreds of dollars to send a box of stuff there. Just take a suitcase. If you really need more than that, then you can pay the airline to bring over a second suitcase. In January 2020, I moved to Japan for 2 years of my life, and the only things I brought with me were 2 medium-sized suitcases, not even large, and a backpack. That's all I needed, because things like pots and pans, extra clothes, bits of tech, you can get all of that stuff in Australia. But a few recommendations of what to bring. Lightweight clothes and summer clothes is definitely a good one, because I could hazard a guess a lot of the places you'll be visiting, it will be quite warm. Even in the winter, as a Brit, I find it still to be quite toasty in the winter. You want to bring all your documents, your passport, your visa grant letter, and make sure you have both physical and digital copies of them, because you can never be too safe. Bring something to do on the plane. After watching a couple of movies on the 24-hour flight to Australia, you'll probably get bored of watching films and you'll probably want to do something else. I've bought myself a handheld games console, the Steam Deck. You can play PC games on it, and as a gamer, it's the absolute best. I plug my headphones in and I can play it for absolutely hours. Make sure you bring some plug adapters. If you're bringing a lot of your tech and cables from your home country, you will most likely need a plug adapter to convert it to the Aussie plugs. Bring with you your prescription medication with doctor's notes. Also check on the website, we keep talking about what medication you can bring into Australia. Sometimes there are limitations, so make sure that you're doing everything by the book. Things not to bring: really heavy winter clothing. Unless you're going to be living in Tasmania or the Australian Alps, then you don't need to bring loads of winter clothing. Yes, it's important to have a jumper or two, but honestly, if you get there and it's really cold, you can go to somewhere like Kmart and you can just buy a few bits of winter clothing. Number 10 is all about airplane comfort. I would highly encourage you to buy these things to make the economy flight as comfortable as possible, because if you can even get a few hours of sleep on the plane, that's going to make you feel so much better and happier in your first week in Australia than if you get 0 hours of sleep on the plane, because sleep is the most important thing for our health. So say I've got my hand luggage below my seat, waiting for me. I will bring some loop earplugs. These are reusable earplugs. They look like this. They're super comfy and they block out a huge amount of sound. You want a jumper because they pump the aircon on a lot of these flights and it can get a bit nippy, and that's just a bit more comfortable for you. You want to get a really good neck pillow. The one I use is from this company called Cabot. There will be links in the description for all of these products. Take it out of here. It's like, I don't know the exact technology of it, but look at the size difference as soon as I've taken that out. You put it around your neck, it is so comfortable. You lock this in. Because these Velcro straps go around the headrest and stick like that, it keeps your neck and head upright the whole time, which basically increases the amount of time you stay asleep tenfold compared to not having this. So this is a really good company. Roll it up like that. I'm pretty sure it's memory foam. Boom. It's super, look, it's like smaller than my head, and you can clip it onto your backpack, so it doesn't even have to be in my backpack taking up all that room. Also, you will notice if you've never been on a flight this long, you will get so dehydrated. So to have a backup water bottle, if the airline isn't, topping you up with your fluids, it's just a no-brainer, and it'll make you feel so much more comfortable and stop you from getting dehydration headaches. The particular airline you might fly with might not have any yummy snacks, and if they do, they might not be to your liking. So bring some home comforts with you, because that will just give you a little dopamine hit to look forward to mid-flight. Now, while this guide will get you started, there's a lot about Australia that people won't tell you before you get here. So go watch this video right now, all about the main things that I wish I knew before I moved here. This will save you so much time. Thank you so much for watching right to the end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.